is and should be a touchdown. Here we go. Bryson Mars has got his back behind him. It is Jaquindon Jackson. Here's the snap. Bryson Barnes looking deep. He's got a man. It's caught! He's gone! Touchdown early! And good evening, everybody, and welcome to College Football Wraparound. I'm Cooper Naylor. And so tonight is going to be, I've only got two topics to talk about. And that is, we're going to preview these games. So, without a doubt, we're going to get into it in just a moment. Of course, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because we are trying to get, we're trying our best to get to 100 subscribers by February 1st. So, of course, we hope that we could get there to the 100 subscribers that, because it would be nice to get there to it. Either way, of course, we had all four quarterfinal games happen this past week. They were interesting ball games. You can always go back and watch my my recap of it later. But of course, today we're here to preview the games that are coming up this weekend or this week on Thursday and Friday night. So, without a doubt, let's go ahead and get started. Texas and Ohio State. I will say this, first off. This game, I don't think is the better game per se, because I think this one has the most likelihood of being a blowout. Now, that's just after me thinking about it, looking at the matchup. This one, I don't know if Texas can keep it close. Now, first off, Texas, their defense, when they're playing at the top of their game, they've got a great defense. And they've shut down some good teams, but, some good in SEC terms. But as far as teams that like the top teams in the country, they haven't really beat much of anyone. Now, they did beat Arizona State to get here to the semifinal round, and they did beat Clemson in the first round to advance to the quarterfinal round. But for Texas right now, I just don't know. And I think I said this the other night, but I don't know if I really have a lot of faith in them because of the way they played against Arizona State. And like I said, they allowed Arizona State to come back 16 points down with like a couple minutes left in the ball game, take it to overtime, and you had to play 2 overtimes just to beat Arizona State. I don't know if that translates well to on Friday night against Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Now, granted, you look at like everything that you can look at, Texas, their offense, they've got a great offense, and Quinn Ewers definitely, he can throw the ball around. He is a great quarterback. Can he make enough plays? Now, you want to go to the flip side and look at Ohio State. And what everybody wants to start off by talking about is how great their offenses look. And let's be honest here. Jeremiah Smith is a beast. You got Emeka Egbuka. You also got another receiver in Carnell Tate. You got 3 receivers that are really good. You got a run game in Trevion Henderson, and you got another running back in Quinshawn Judkins who can do the job. The question I have, because I think their defense is good. Can their defense, I think this is going to come down to, really, I think this is going to be defensive football. Who can play better defense? And quite frankly, I think I'm giving the edge to Ohio State in this game because Ohio State's defense, I feel like, has they played really good against Oregon. They played really good against Tennessee. Of course, the 21 points they gave up. Um, you gave up like 13 in the second half. You gave up 8 there at the end of the first half. So my thing is this, okay? Ohio State, they knew they had won the game. There wasn't no need to have to go score anymore. There wasn't no need to play lockdown defense because Oregon wasn't moving the ball all that great the whole night in the Rose Bowl. So if I look back at that at Ohio State and I look back at Texas so far in the playoff, um, I really do have a hard time picking against Ohio State in this matchup or in the national championship game. I have a hard time just because Ohio State, just quite frankly, the way they won these two games here in the playoff, they look dominant, very, very, very dominant. There's not much else I could say other than dominant performances from the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, of course, I mean, you look at you want to look at some guys that could potentially be big in a matchup. Like a couple of guys for Ohio State and a couple of guys for Texas. I'm just going to get their roster pulled up because I mean, you got to truly look back at some of these guys. But I mean, you want to look at Ohio State, and they've got a lot of good players. But in the receiving game, a guy that I feel like because I think Texas, they're going to try to heavily guard Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Buka. So look for G. Scott Jr., the tight end. You heard me call his name once the other night in the Rose Bowl. Look for him to have a big game because I feel like Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Buka may be guarded heavily, very heavily. So I feel like it's going to be big for a guy like G. Scott to get the ball quite a bit on Friday night. Now, if you look at Texas, I will say this. Their run game, to me, is going to have to come up big. I feel like Ohio State, they're going to realize, hey, Texas, they got a pretty good receiving core. Quintrevion Wisner may be guarded, may be shut down heavily. Jaden Blue, Jarek Gibson, them two are going to have to be big for Texas in this game because I feel like Texas has got to be able to run the ball effectively against Ohio State. Because if you can run the ball effectively, then I feel like you will be able to take down Ohio State. Now, of course, it's a big task. Both teams play. I mean, this is this is going to be a very interesting matchup. But right now, if I had to give you a pick, I'm picking Ohio State. Because like I said, the dominance of what they've looked like in these first two matchups in the college football playoff, I have a hard time picking against Ohio State. Now, also, something else keep in mind is this, okay? When you look at this playoff and what we've seen, it will never be who's the top team in the regular season. It's going to be who gets enough rest, and basically who's got more talent. And once you get those two questions out of the way, which team plays the best ball in the playoff? That's truly what it's going to come down to. It's not going to be best team anymore. It's going to be which team peaks at the right time. So, with all that being said, let's move our attention now to Penn State and Notre Dame. So, Penn State, Notre Dame, what can I say except two teams that quite frankly, I feel like are in similar but different situations. Penn State, they just came off of a win against I would say a good Boise State team, not a great Boise State team, but a good Boise State team. So Penn State, from what I saw the other night, and this is what I've been saying, is that Drew Aller, I feel like he has this ability to. I think he has an ability to be really good. I just haven't seen enough to prove to me that he is. I don't know. I'm just being honest. To me, Aller, he's done a great job. I think that he's been able to get the ball to the right guy at the right time, except for when he's under pressure. When it comes to being pressured, Aller, to me, it feels like he gets a little bit nervous and he throws the ball into uncharacteristic spots, which you can't be doing. You can't just not play. You can't, you got to be able to sit in the pocket and be confident and get the ball to where you need to get it to. Now, he's a very mobile quarterback, but another thing is he tries to make these sidearm throws, and he always throws it way behind his receiver, way above his receiver. It's never where the receiver needs it. So if you're Drew Aller in Penn State, and how this watching Notre Dame the other day, Penn State's going to have to figure out how do we get Aller to complete the majority of his passes and look efficient. You got to be efficient against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense is nothing to slouch at. Georgia just figured that out. Granted, Georgia's playing a backup quarterback, but Notre Dame's defense is nothing to slouch at. Again, Notre Dame, it seems like they are peaking at the right time. They, of course, had that one loss to Northern Illinois, and then they've come back and they've looked dominant. So you got 13-1 Notre Dame, got 13-2 Penn State. Penn State, to be completely honest, I don't know if we've fully seen them play their best game of the season yet. That's the one thing that worries me about Penn State. We haven't seen them play their best game yet. Are they going to play their best game against Notre Dame? Or what kind of team do we get from Penn State? Notre Dame, to me, I got this gut feeling like Notre Dame's going to show up in this game and play lockdown defense. Now, when you talk about Notre Dame and you look at their offense, Riley Leonard didn't even throw for 100 passing yards the other day. He was able to run on, take off with his legs and run and make the plays himself. So that's the question I have, because this Penn State defense has been really good. Quite honestly, Texas and Ohio State, I feel like to an extent will be defensive football, but this one right here, Penn State Notre Dame, is going to come down to which defense makes more plays. And quite frankly, I just don't. This is going to be a low scoring game. There is no doubt about it. This, I feel like, is one of those. Heck, 13-10. That's the type game we're going to get from Penn State and Notre Dame. 13-10 is somewhere in the line of what we're going to see. It's going to be a good ball game Thursday night. Don't get me wrong. But, I think, and just like the other night, the key is going to be, can Riley Leonard run and make plays on the ground like he did? And the special teams for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's special teams is incredible. Can they come up big again Thursday night? That's going to be a big key in this ball game, which, personally speaking, I think they can do it. I think Notre Dame's special teams can make enough plays and make this ball game interesting. Penn State, I don't have a lot of faith in Drew Aller. And with that being said, I give Notre Dame the edge in this ball game. So quite frankly, Notre Dame and Ohio State is who I think is going to be playing for the national championship game. And whether you like it or not, that's who I think are the two best teams left. And they're the two teams that's peaked at the right time here in the playoff. I just don't have a lot of faith in Penn State. I don't have a lot of faith in Texas. So I'm going to be honest. That national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame would be very interesting, to say the least. But that's the two ball games that we have here for you. And quite frankly, that's pretty much all I have for tonight's show. I wanted to make it short and sweet and really get to the point. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe because we are trying to hit 100 subscribers before February 1st. And we're trying to post some kind of content every single day of the year. And so far, 6 days, 6 pieces of content posted so far. So very pleased with that. But with all that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again later. Goodbye, everybody.